I never thought I'd have to protect my parents from my own family. The first red flag should have been when Sarah called at 2 a.m., crying about her car breaking down. "Michael, I'm so embarrassed to ask, but could you spot me $800? I'll pay you back next week when my paycheck comes in." My wife Linda stirred beside me as I quietly agreed to transfer the money. Sarah was my brother David's wife, and family helps family. That was 3 months ago. Since then, the calls kept coming. Emergency dental work, $1,200. Unexpected medical bills, $900. Rent shortfall because her hours got cut, $1,500. Each time, Sarah had a perfectly reasonable explanation and a firm payback date that somehow never quite materialized. By my count, I'd lent her over $8,000. But who keeps track between family? The discovery that changed everything happened on a Tuesday morning when I stopped by my parents' house to fix their leaky faucet. Dad was at the kitchen table, surrounded by bank statements and wearing the confused expression I'd been seeing more often lately. "Michael, can you help me understand something?" he asked, pointing at a withdrawal slip. "This says I took out $3,000 last Thursday, but I was here all day watching my shows. Mom can confirm it." My blood went cold. The signature on the withdrawal slip looked like Dad's handwriting, but something felt off about the pen pressure. I'd seen enough forged documents in my work as an insurance investigator to recognize the telltale signs. "Dad, do you mind if I take a look at your recent statements?" What I found made my hands shake. Over the past 4 months, there had been 8 suspicious withdrawals totaling $23,000. All made during weekdays when my parents were usually home. All with signatures that looked right at first glance, but showed subtle inconsistencies under closer inspection. The timing clicked into place, like puzzle pieces forming a nightmare picture. Every withdrawal corresponded almost exactly with one of Sarah's emergencies. She hadn't just been borrowing money from me, she'd been systematically stealing from my elderly parents. That evening, I sat in my car outside Sarah's apartment for an hour, trying to process what I'd discovered. My brother David was working nights as a security guard, which meant Sarah had plenty of unsupervised time with access to family information. She'd been to every family gathering, every birthday dinner, where financial topics came up. She knew about Dad's routine, his bank, even which branch he preferred. The methodical nature of it made me sick. This wasn't impulse or desperation. This was calculated predation, targeting the most vulnerable members of our family. I spent the next week conducting what I called Operation Family Shield. Years of investigating insurance fraud had taught me to follow the paper trail methodically. I started with Sarah's social media, looking for patterns in her posts and activities. What I found confirmed my worst suspicions: photos from the local casino posted at odd hours, new clothes and jewelry that didn't match her claimed financial struggles, check-ins at expensive restaurants on the same days she'd called crying about not having grocery money. The timeline painted a clear picture. Sarah had a gambling problem, and she was financing it by systematically defrauding our family. My next call was to Detective Rodriguez, a former colleague who now worked financial crimes. "Mike, what you're describing sounds like a classic elder fraud case with a family member perpetrator. These cases are tough because victims often don't want to prosecute family. But the pattern you're showing me is textbook." Rodriguez helped me understand the legal framework. Elder financial abuse, forgery, identity theft. Sarah had committed multiple felonies. But more importantly, she'd likely done this before and would continue until stopped. The hardest part was the conversation with my parents. Mom cried when I showed them the evidence, not from anger, but from disappointment. "She seemed so sweet at Christmas dinner," Mom whispered. "She even offered to help me organize my medications." Dad's reaction was different. Cold fury, mixed with protective determination. "How much did she steal total?" he asked, studying the bank statements with new clarity. "From you two, about $23,000. From me?" "Family man, another $8,000. Possibly more from other family members we haven't contacted yet." The family meeting that followed was like something from a courtroom drama. David arrived still in his security uniform, confused about why we'd called an emergency gathering. When I laid out the evidence, bank statements, forged signatures, timeline correlations with casino visits, his face went through every stage of grief in 30 seconds. "Sarah's been telling me she got a part-time job to help with expenses," he said quietly. "She said you'd been so generous helping us out financially." Sarah's defense crumbled under scrutiny. When confronted with photocopied evidence and casino loyalty card records I'd obtained through Rodriguez's connections, she shifted from denial to bargaining to angry accusations that we were ganging up on a family member having a hard time. The legal intervention moved swiftly. Rodriguez connected us with an elder abuse prosecutor who specialized in family fraud cases. Sarah was arrested on multiple felony charges: elder financial abuse, forgery, identity theft, and wire fraud. The prosecution was particularly interested because similar patterns had emerged in 2 other families in our area. The most satisfying moment came during the asset recovery phase. Sarah had been using multiple family members as unknowing banks for her gambling addiction. The court ordered full restitution plus penalties, backed by seizure of her car, jewelry, and forced sale of other assets. My parents recovered every stolen dollar, plus interest. But the real victory was systemic. The case became part of a larger elder abuse awareness campaign. The bank implemented new verification procedures for elderly customers making large withdrawals. The casino was required to provide gambling addiction resources and flag suspicious patterns of rapid, large cash deposits. 3 months later, David filed for divorce and full custody of their daughter. "I can't trust someone who'd steal from elderly family members," he told me. "What would she teach my daughter about right and wrong?" Sarah received 18 months in county jail, 5 years probation, and mandatory gambling addiction counseling. She also faces civil lawsuits from 2 other families who discovered similar theft patterns after her arrest made local news. The experience taught me that family predators are often the most dangerous because they exploit trust and emotional bonds. They know our vulnerabilities, our routines, our soft spots. But it also showed me that families can be incredibly strong when they unite to protect their most vulnerable members. My parents now have new bank accounts with enhanced security features and power of attorney arrangements that require dual authorization for large transactions. We instituted monthly family financial check-ins, where any concerning patterns get immediate attention. Sometimes, people ask if I feel bad about destroying Sarah's life. I don't. She made calculated decisions to victimize elderly family members who trusted her completely. The only thing I regret is not catching it sooner. The best part is watching Dad now. he's back to his confident self, managing his own finances. With the sharp mind that built his successful business career, he tells people, "My son didn't just get our money back, he got our dignity back." That's what real family does. We protect each other from predators, even when those predators share our name.